Welcome back everyone to another game, this time from the FIDE World Team Chess Championship, which is a 10-team round-robin event held in Kazakhstan. This game is played between Ding Liren and Rauf Mamedov, and it features some really nice endgame play. At the time of this game, Ding Liren was only 7 points behind Fabiano Caruana on the live rating list. Ding had white pieces, Mamedov had black. It's black's turn on move 30 in this position, and Mamedov goes b5, which is a mistake. Instead, c5 seems more logical, where black's rooks will have some open lines to work with, instead of what happened in the game. So after b5, Ding goes a5, just closing down the file, and now white's control of the open h file will give him a comfortable edge. Rook d to d8 played. Black now tries to challenge the open h file. We have rook to h5, king to e6, king c2, rook h8, rook a to h1, rook takes, rook d8, just taking away white's option of going d5. Just to show you how dangerous a timely d5 can be, let's say black goes king f7 and rook g8. Not the best move, but purely for demonstration purposes. So here white breaks with d5, and if white manages to capture on c6, then he's going to have a dangerous passed pawn. And if black goes c5, then d6, king b4, and this looks good for white. So after rook d8, we have king b3, so that just defends the b4 pawn to free up the bishop, and rook d5. So maybe not the ideal move. Perhaps black could have tried king f7, keeping the rook on d8 just to safeguard the back rank, and also cover this d5 advance. And after, say, bishop e1, maybe make a waiting move, for example bishop d6. White is, of course, still better in this position and can try to squeeze this all day, but this seems like a solid try for black. I should mention that if d5, black can meet that with c5. And this should give black some counterplay and some open lines for his rooks. But instead rook d5 played. f5 check, king f7, bishop e1. And now we can see just how awkwardly placed this rook is on d5. The previous move from white, bishop e1, aims to improve the position of the bishop. So maybe white is intending bishop to g3 and trying to stick the bishop all the way on the c5 square. So now bishop d6. If black tries to stop this idea of bishop g3, then rook h8, seizing control of the back rank. And you can just see how awkward the rook is on d5. So let's go back to the game. Here g5 was played. Now this position is already extremely unpleasant for black. It's the kind of position where black is going to have to struggle just to make a draw. But g5 was just a big mistake since it opens up the 7th rank. But it's hard to suggest a move for black. He can try king to g8. This is one of the options, trying to prevent rook to h8. But here white can go rook h2, then rook to c2, hoping to break with a6. That has to be taken, otherwise a7. g6, trying to liquidate some material, but here it takes. White can play rook takes a6, but rook e6 may be even stronger, attacking the e4 pawn, which will most likely be picked up. And also, there are ideas like bishop to h4, attacking f6, which could be annoying, so this seems quite promising for white. Another option is to go bishop f8, but rook h8 is quite annoying to deal with. since this bishop is now stuck, you can't really move it because you don't want the rook to roam freely on the back rank. So rook d8, black sits and waits. Bishop g3. White just goes for this very simple plan of trying to stick the bishop on c5. So if black tries bishop to e7, then takes, and here d5, threatening to take, and then push this pawn. So if that is taken, then king c3. Notice how the pawn and the bishop completely cut off the black king. And this should be winning for white, since black has so many weaknesses in this position. So back to the main line, rook d7, bishop b8, rook d5, bishop a7. So white just gets the bishop to c5. And this ties down the king on f7 just long enough. And now a switch of plans, rook h2. And rook c2, prepping a6. And black's king is just far enough for white to get some advantage. King e7. So now if a6, black can go king d6, just protecting c6. And rook b8, black should be fine. But instead of going a6, white can go d5 in this position. Take on c6, and white has some advantage with his passed a pawn, and he can try to press on this position. So another option is to go rook to d8. With similar ideas as king g8, black hopes to safeguard the back rank. Bishop g3, again trying to stick the bishop on c5. Black can go rook c8, trying to prevent this idea, guarding b8 and c7. But this looks extremely passive. White can go rook h2 and maybe try for breaks in d5 and a6. So let's go back to the game and see how Ding proceeds. After g5 from black, Ding played rook h7 check, king to e8, bishop g3, so he just wants to put the bishop on c5. We have rook d7, bishop to b8, bishop f8, rook h1, gotta keep the rooks on the board to have the initiative. King f7, so Mamedov wants to bring the king over to cover the h file. Bishop a7, king g7, and bishop c5. So Ding managed to get the bishop all the way to c5, and he now threatens to take, and then play rook to h8, where white's rook activity is going to be overwhelming. So Mamedov played bishop to d6. Black tries to prevent any entry on the open h file. So taking the bishop would lose. King b4, now white simply wants to go rook to a1 and push a6. And if black tries to stop that with rook to a8, then white simply goes d5, and this is highly unpleasant. And this is probably winning for white. So bishop d6, we have rook to a1, bishop to g3, a6. Ding now manages to achieve this long-term goal of pushing a6. We have b takes a6 and king to c3, not capturing immediately but preparing to defend this pawn in case of bishop to f2. We have rook to d8. Now Ding captures the pawn. Bishop e1 check, king c2, and rook h8, opting for activity instead of defending passively with rook to c8. So here maybe rook a7, king g8. Many moves win here for white. Rook e7 would pick up the e4 pawn, but bishop e7. And this is even cleaner, not allowing any rook a8 counterplay. And if king f7 defending, bishop d8 discovered check, forcing the king back, and then take on f6. With this active rook, coupled with white's connected passers, white has a huge advantage. So back to the game, rook h8. We have rook takes c6, rook h2, king to d1, bishop d2, and now d5. Passed pawns must be pushed. We have bishop c3, rook c7 check, king g8, d6, and in this position, Rauf Mamedov resigned. Black has no way of stopping this passed d-pawn. He can go rook d2 check, but after king c1, then white simply goes d7, followed by rook c8 check, and the pawn is going to promote. That's going to be whole rook and an easily won position for white. Really intense endgame grind from Ding Liren. He took full advantage of his activity on the open H file, and that proved to be decisive. After this victory, Ding is only 3.5 points behind Caruana on the live rating list. I hope you enjoyed this game. Feel free to subscribe for more chess videos. Thanks for watching and have a great day.